Don't Look Up. Nothing happened. Hey guys, Melinda here. We are getting back into movie and TV reviews. It is very long overdue and I'm going to be a little rusty, I think, so bear with me. Especially the movie that I decided to watch to review. I seem to struggle with it a little bit. We'll kind of dive into it a little bit as I get into it. I am going to be talking about the Netflix original film Don't Look Up, which is still pretty new. I think it was released either in November or December of 2021, so last year, just a few months ago, but getting very critically acclaimed right now. It's getting nominated for a lot of awards. It was up for a bunch of Golden Globes and now the Oscars, so I thought I needed to give it a watch, give it a review before the Oscars, and see what I thought of it. So, we're gonna be talking about Don't Look Up today. And bear with me if at some points I might sound a little stuffy or I sniff my nose and it sounds a little gross. Getting over a little bit of cold right now. I'm very thankful I decided to wait and film this video until I was feeling a little bit better, because if I film this in the pure dead center of my sickness, which I was originally planning to do, that video probably wouldn't have been good for any of us. So with that put aside, let's go ahead, jump right into this movie review. So Don't Look Up is a Netflix original movie, so obviously it's streaming on Netflix right now. Anybody can go click and watch it. I originally saw the trailer for this a while back and thought it looked funny, it looked interesting. Didn't realize how big of a thing it was actually going to become. Like I mentioned earlier, it got nominated for a bunch of Golden Globes. Now they're up for some Oscars. Let's just check real quick. 94th Academy Awards is at the end of this month. Don't Look Up is nominated for Best Picture, Music, Original Score, and Original Screenplay. Okay, so it's nominated for 3 Oscars. I thought it was nominated for more, but still, the fact that it is nominated for an Oscar automatically puts the film itself on a radar to say that it is obviously one of the best pictures that the Academy thinks is out there, or else why would it get nominated? Just real quick, I'm gonna see what it was for Golden Globes. Golden Globes was nominated for 4, actor in a musical or comedy for Leo DiCaprio, actress, musical comedy, Jennifer Lawrence, best musical or comedy motion picture, and best screenplay of a motion picture. So they didn't win any of the Golden Globes. Who's to say they'll win Oscars? But again, the fact that it was nominated for 2 of the biggest award shows obviously means that there's something behind it and it's good. Piqued my interest and curious to see what it was about, and then lo and behold, it has like one of the biggest casts I have ever seen in a film. Oh my goodness. Just to briefly go over all the big names, and I apologize if I say any of their names wrong because I might. We got Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Meryl Streep, Cate Blanchett, Rob Morgan, Jonah Hill, Tyler Perry, Timothy Chalamet, Ron Perlman, Ariana Grande, Kid Cudi, Melanie Linsky, and a bunch of other people that I personally don't recognize, but you yourself could recognize. But still, that is a huge cast right there alone. So many big people in this. Leo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Meryl Streep. That is just already a wow factor right there. Okay, now that we've covered the basis of it, let's go ahead and dive into the nitty-gritty details and specifics that I wrote about it. For those of you who haven't seen any of my other movie or TV reviews, I like to review it in a way that gives no spoilers, so that way anybody can click onto this video, hear my thoughts, get an idea if they want to go watch it, and go from there. Don't Look Up is about Jennifer Lawrence, Leonardo DiCaprio. Their characters are scientists at this very, very small university in Michigan, I think was the state. Not a big college name. They're 2 astronomers. Leonardo DiCaprio is a professor. Jennifer Lawrence is a student trying to get her PhD. While studying the stars one night, Jennifer Lawrence's character sees an unrecognizable comet. She doesn't know what it is. She explores it a little bit more, brings it to her professor's attention. They realize it's hurtling straight towards Earth and it's huge. It's going to wipe out the planet. The movie is basically them trying to capture everybody's attention and say, this is a serious issue. We are all going to die unless we act on this. Some people just don't take it seriously. They go straight to the president, who's played by Meryl Streep, and she just basically laughs in their face and she's like, do you know how many situations we've had that the world is coming to an end, blah, 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 blah. Completely brushing it off the shoulder, blowing them off, saying that it's ridiculous and they're getting frustrated because nobody's listening to them. Nobody understands the direness of this situation. So that's basically what it is. They go on like this media tour, they go on news shows, they do articles and interviews and stuff, just trying to bring attention to the fact that this is coming and this is happening and nobody is taking it seriously. So you can kind of see the comedy elements that come along with that. I think they did a really good job at turning that kind of situation into a comedy because it is such a heavy topic. It would be scary if we found out that there was a giant comet hurtling towards Earth and we're gonna die in 6 months. I don't know about anybody else. I personally would cry for 6 months until somebody fixed it or tried to save us. You can kind of see where I'm going with that. First and foremost, I think it was rightfully so for Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence to be nominated for Best Actor and Best Actress for the Golden Globes. I would say it definitely is not an Oscar-worthy performance, but they did an amazing job playing these characters, and I was just blown away, especially by Jennifer Lawrence. She has been one of my favorite actresses since Hunger Games. Just the way that she dives into these characters and how they're all so different. This one in particular, her character is so angry and frustrated and scared, and she just captures those emotions so well that you physically feel for her and you feel scared for her, and just does a phenomenal job. She was absolutely amazing in this film. So don't want to give too many spoilers. Leonardo DiCaprio's character is like kind of polar opposite of Jennifer Lawrence's, and that he actually kind of starts to get into the media and loves the attention, loves being on camera, trying to bring a lightness to the situation versus Jennifer Lawrence is hardcore trying to say, no, we're going to die, and Leo is over here trying to make jokes about it. So that's kind of the dynamic that the two characters have about this whole thing. They kind of clash heads and butt heads, and that's kind of where the drama comes in, more comedy. It was a very entertaining film. Like I mentioned, I do understand some of the nominations that they did get. Now, I will not go so far as to say that it is Best Picture worthy at the Oscars. For Best Comedy at the Golden Globes, absolutely. Of all the amazing films that are being nominated this year, I don't consider Don't Look Up to be a part of that, and it shouldn't be a part of that. Personally, again, not to say that that's anything against the film, that it was a bad film, I just don't see it being Oscar worthy, if that's okay for me to say. I think there are so many other films out there that could have deserved that nomination. I don't know, when you're hemming and hawing, comparing the two of them, I would say definitely worthy of the Golden Globe. I don't think it's necessarily worthy of an Oscar. Again, my opinion, my thoughts. This film is very witty and clever and funny, so yes, it does classify as a comedy. It is actually stated to be a dark comedy, which is supposed to be comedic about a very tragic situation, such as the world is coming to an end. I will say though, it wasn't necessarily laugh out loud funny. It was more of clever and sophisticated kind of jokes. It wasn't laugh out loud funny, but it was chuckled to myself funny. Again, not to say that that's not a bad thing. If anything, it gives it something more. Intellectually, it's a great film and also makes you really think and look at the world, because it perfectly represented what the world looks like in today's society, and that's we are constantly on our phones. We're staring at screens, we're on the internet, making viral videos, TikToks, all that kind of stuff was involved in this film. It was just so accurate, and they did an amazing job at showcasing that, especially just as an example, you can go see it in the trailer. There's a moment when Jennifer Lawrence is kind of screaming at reporters and saying that this isn't a joke, we are going to die. In the film, that gets turned into a meme, and she's known as the "we're going to die" girl. And the fact that that blew up so quickly, that's just my whole point, is that you do anything negative in the spotlight these days, you get made fun of, you get chastised for, and that's what happened with Jennifer Lawrence's character, in that she's trying to share the reality of what's to come, and everybody turns it around and makes it a joke. Hello, that is America, that is today's society, and this film does an absolute amazing job at capturing that. I also think that it could be a very realistic expectation if this ever were to actually happen in real life. Let's say two astronomers from my university, University of Nevada, Las Vegas, an accredited university, kind of has a big name, but it's not huge. It's not a Harvard, it's not a Yale. I have two astronomers from that university come out into the public and say there's a comet heading towards Earth and we're going to die in 6 months. I personally believe nobody's gonna care. We've lived through so many crises and the world's coming to an end. We've all gone through COVID, 2012 era when the Mayan calendar ended. We have been through all of that and it's been fine. We've survived all of it. So I do do think that if this were to ever happen, nobody would care. Everybody would make jokes about it. It's sad to think that would actually happen, but I think that's what makes this film so great, because it's so realistic and captures how we would react in that situation. And that's a whole new layer and level to this film that makes it amazing and funny and totally unique, and again, just amazing and incredible. Small detail, I like the idea that there's a female president in this film. It breaks down the stereotypes and it breaks down everything that we know of today's society. We have never had a female president, so I think just the fact that they have that minor detail in there just also makes this film so much more incredible, because it steps outside that boundaries and shows what exactly would happen if a female were president. And a huge part of that also played into social media, and that if she did one thing wrong in front of the camera, it spirals into something it shouldn't, and something greater. So top notch, great job, and love that minute detail that was in it. I like the idea that this film also incorporated real life organizations. Personally, cannot remember them off the top of my head, but they incorporated like some behind the scenes NASA group, space, CIA, government organization, like things that actually exist, but things that people don't know exist. I like that it's not made up and that it actually represents something that does exist. So that just goes to show that the writers did their research and weren't just pulling stuff out of their butt to make this film. Bravo to them, and bravo to the film. This kind of corresponds with the cinematography, and this ties back into the idea of incorporating social media into this film, and I love the layout of the film, and that's why it's like, it's kind of the cinematography. As an example, you have Jennifer Lawrence's character that's going crazy on TV, and then it transitions to all these social media articles that come out and people making TikTok videos about it, Instagram posts, showcasing how fast the internet reacts to these kinds of situations. And the transitions were beautiful and funny and cleverly written in and perfectly timed, and again, just incredible. They did such an amazing job with this film. Also wrote, tying everything full circle, the story is very genius, and again, an actual representation of today's society with social media, politics, genders, social classes, everything you can think of, you name it. This film is spot on, right on the nose of how the world is today. It's amazing because a lot of people don't want to touch on it because everybody can get offended by anything these days. So I think they just did a great job at showcasing it, clever and hilarious. The title itself, Don't Look Up, is in reference to something that happens in the film. No spoilers again, but I do have to say, where that title comes from, Don't Look Up, is actually quite funny. The joke behind it is brilliant, and all I have to say is watch the film in order just to get that, because it changes your viewpoint and your thoughts on the title itself. Doing a little bit of research into this before filming, I found that there are actually mixed critic reviews. Some people said it was great, some people said it was not great, and those actually within science field give this film positive feedback, which is amazing because that showcases the writers did their job in researching how these roles are and how they correspond, they play an effect, their actual jobs and what they do. It actually shows that the writers accurately portrayed that in this film, and that's amazing. I love when films do that, again, as opposed to just making something up, pulling it out of their butt to put together a fun script. So it's nice that they stay true to the science community and everything that goes involved with it. Diving into the specifics of Leo's character, I had some issues with. We are given a very specific viewpoint of Leo's character at the beginning. This is him, this is his philosophy, his beliefs. Pretty great guy, has a family and in love with his wife, kids, and everything like that. So when he steps into the media spotlight and kind of absorbs it and is falling in love with the idea of being famous and recognized, it didn't seem believable to me. Again, as opposed to Jennifer Lawrence's character where she's freaking out, she's crying, she's emotional and upset about this. And I get that they have to have the polar opposite to have the conflict between the two characters. So they make Leo the one that is in love with the spotlight and looking for any attention, media presence that he can get. The way that he is portrayed at the beginning as this family man just makes it so much more hard to believe. I would actually almost prefer that we don't know about his family in the beginning. We don't see that dynamic, because then it would help develop his character a little bit more. It would feel more realistic that what he does is real. I don't like what they did with his character because it wasn't believable. I think it could have been written better. And then that kind of ties in my next point, is that I really did not have any strong emotional or sympathy for any of the characters. We have that connection with no one except Jennifer Lawrence's character, but everybody else, every other character, no connection whatsoever. So did not care if they died or lived or anything of that sort. So I don't know if that helps the film or if it hurts the film. I'll just leave that out there. Going into my last final thoughts, again, just to wrap up, overall, I did think this was a very entertaining, witty, clever, fun movie. Do recommend that you guys go check it out just for that fact that it was entertaining. Watching Jennifer Lawrence and Leonardo DiCaprio in such a different film than what we're used to with them was amazing and different and just fun. It was just so fun to watch. Definitely recommend for you guys to go check out this film and see if you agree with my ideas. Everything towards the end, again, no spoilers, it does get tied up in a pretty neat bow. It is a very sweet ending. I do appreciate that they were able to basically fix everything and tie it all up nicely, so I did like that. And there is a post-credit scene that really has no value to the film whatsoever, but that post-credit scene was pretty funny, so I would recommend watching toward the very end for that post-credit scene. That is everything. Those are all of my notes. Again, probably a little bit rusty, especially comedy tends to be my weaker subject when reviewing and talking about. I do a lot better, kind of more of the thriller or horror aspect, because then I can dive really into psychosis of it and thought process, the intelligence behind it. Comedy is usually just meant to be funny. Regardless, that is everything for this movie review. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope it gives you some ideas about what to expect, or if you've already seen it, please let me know your thoughts down in the comments down below. I would love to read them, and I'd love to have a discussion with you guys about this film, especially before the Oscars come out. That is everything. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you all for the support. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. It would absolutely mean the world to me. And make sure to hit that subscribe button if you aren't already and you want to see more content. With that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Live life, always laugh, and enjoy the journey. Bye. 94th, look, what?